to David's progress.
Hi guys, welcome to today's episode, and today I'm going to be talking about guesswork. It rhymes with legwork, yeah? But guesswork, and let me explain what I mean by guesswork. As human beings, we're great at guessing that something happened to me because of something I didn't do or because of something I did. Truthfully, sometimes it's like that. So let me give you an example. I had an interview, and I think the interview went pretty great. I spoke with as much confidence as I could have. And so they asked me a question. They said, what are your weaknesses? And to be honest, and now that I think about it, maybe if I answered differently, I could have gotten the job. But I mean, whatever the case, it's gone. But they asked me what were my weaknesses, and I said none. And I don't know, I wasn't being cocky, and I wasn't lying, because at the time, apart from many of the things that I mentioned that I didn't like, which are like disorganized working styles, so I can be disorganized in my real life, like you can enter my room and it's scattered, but my files are organized, my folders are named properly, all of those things. So I'm that type of person. And I think I'd said that before, and I think I'd mentioned some of the things that weren't great, but so this was a different question. What are your weaknesses? And I said none. And somehow I think that might have been the point where it didn't go as great, because the impression was that I am too full of myself and I don't have enough self-realization of myself to answer, I don't know, something like that. And I got that feedback after, right? So now, and at the time, that was like the highest paying job that I will have ever earned. Thankfully, 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, I got a job that paid me higher than that. So now that I think about it, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. But the point I wanted to make was that it would have been very easy for me to look through that process and just be like, oh God, I'm sure it's because I said nothing. I should have mentioned a weakness. Even if I didn't think I had any, I should have just cooked up stuff. And one thing that I do typically when I'm in an interview is I'm usually as free as possible. So when I have interviews, I don't rehearse. I don't plan for it, because I think most of the questions that will be asked are things that I already have in my head. Except it's an assessment, then I'll prepare for it. So apart from reading about the company, reading about their vision, their dreams, all of those things, apart from all those information, I don't rehearse interview questions. And here's the reason why. It's because I think I want to give you the most authentic part of me, such that when you see me in real life and I'm working with you, I don't give you interview answers. And when I come to you in real life, you're just like, this is not the type of person that you want on your interview, So I don't want to be that person. So that's how I typically answer during interviews. I'm usually as straightforward as possible. I tell you what's on my mind and all of that. Now, as human beings, it's very easy for us to look at a situation and assess it and say, it's because of this, or your outcome in life, maybe because, things didn't turn out well for whatever reason. And truthfully, maybe because of what you're saying, right? But most times, it's usually not the case. It's usually not what we even guessed it was. Let me tell you what makes it worse, or how it can be worse, when we're walking on the road and somebody's laughing. And the first thing you're like, I'm sure they're laughing at my cap, or I'm sure they're laughing at my hair. You just guess that. Of which the person may be laughing at something completely different, But as human beings, those things are wired in us because we're so self-conscious. It can just help us. It can just make us, it can cripple us. And it's supposed to be something good. There's supposed to be a part of us that is self-aware, looking out to be sure that, it's like a self-preservation mechanism. But it can be on the extreme many times because we're not the best at, being the best type of people. And as human beings, we're good for each other. That's why when people marry, they become better for each other, except, in some terrible cases. But we're good at guesswork. we're good at guessing that it's probably because of this, it's probably because of that, it's probably because I didn't do this, it's probably because I didn't do that. Many times it's not the case. And sometimes it's the case, but many times it's not. And whether it's the case or it's not the case, two things are important. One is the fact that even if it was the case, you are where you are now. Forget about it. Forget about guessing whether it was because of that, it was because of... The question on your mind should be, what do I do now? The question on your mind should be, how do I move from here? The question on your mind should be, what's next? How do I, eventually get what I want or move in the direction of my heart desire and stuff like that. The reason why that's important is, and I'm talking about guesswork because the more you guess, the higher your chances of going in the wrong direction emotionally. So let me give you an example. With the example that I gave, if I had guessed that, I'm sure it's because I said no, of which it's possible that wasn't the reason. Honestly, it's possible that you found somebody that was cheaper or they found someone that was even better. If for any reason I kept that thought in my mind and I was like, I'm sure it's because I didn't say it. I'm guessing because I don't know for sure. What that does to me is I'm basically lying to myself because what I'm saying is not true, even though I really believe it. So you see, when you do guesswork, many times you're lying to yourself, and because you're lying to yourself, you're forced to believe it because you told yourself. And that's literally the worst place you can be, when you actually lie to yourself. Like, somebody's not lying to you. You, by yourself, you took yourself and said, I'm going to lie to myself. Of course, nobody does it on purpose, but it's possible. And you don't want to be in that place where you're lying to yourself. That's what guesswork does. So what do you want to do instead of guessing? Just assess the facts and make your conclusions based on what you can see. If you have any premonitions or if you have any ideas that are not based on something you can verify, just keep it blank. And it seems like a very hard thing to do because we always want to figure things out. Oh my God, I want to know, I want to understand. Life is not like that. We can't understand everything. That's the honest truth. That's the truth. Truth is honest. We can't understand everything. It's fine to stop at, this is what I can see, this is what I know, and the rest of it I don't know. It's better to say I don't know than to say I'm sure it's because, and let me tell you where this gets worse in your relationships. So your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whatever it is, your friend says something and you already guess, I'm sure it's because, you see, it's getting to you again. You are guessing that the person, it doesn't work for anybody. It's like, it's such a terrible thing to do. And myself, I am guilty of it because as human beings, we can't escape it to an extent. But I want you to always catch yourself when you find yourself guessing, when you find yourself putting ideas in your mind that are not real. Because the more you do that, the more you live your life based on a false truth, a false reality, something that is not true, and you move on with it. And some people are depressed because of it. Some people are losing their minds because of it. And then when you finally find out that it wasn't the case, it's almost too late because you're just like, oh my God, so I lived a life for so long, or I believed in this thing that wasn't true for so long. It's not a great place to be. So what's the lesson? The lesson is make your conclusions based on what you can see. Lastly, and I said I had 2 points. Second thing, what should you do? Even if what you guessed was correct or not correct, as a believer, here's what should be on your mind. All things work together for good to me because I love him and I'm called according to his purpose. If you're not a believer, you need to figure out how to be, believe in what Jesus did on the cross of Calvary. He paid the price for your sins. That's the way to receive salvation. Believing that in your heart, accepting the fact that you cannot save yourself and receiving salvation. Reading the Bible is going to help you understand this. But for every believer, there is that hope that no matter what happens to me, everything works out together for my good. And that's such a great place to be. Like, thinking about the fact that even if what you guessed was right, even if what you did was wrong, even if everything that brought you here was actually your fault and, all the guessing that you guessed was right, eventually everything works out together for your good. So that should put you in a place of relaxation. It should put you in a place of rest. It should put you in a place of, I'm going forward in the direction of where I should be going, instead of, oh God, is it because I did that? Is it because I did this? And wrong guessing, or that guesswork thing can just help make you blame yourself for things that you shouldn't be blaming yourself for. And that's a big problem. So stop guessing. Stop guessing. Work with what you can see. If you can't see it, if you can't verify it, if you can't be sure about what it really is, what the matter is, what the problem is, what the challenge is, just stay at, I don't know why this happened, and move in your direction. So somebody dies and you're just like, I'm sure it's because. It's fine to say, I don't know why. Like, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. That's fine. I don't know, and move. It's better than, I'm sure it's because, I guess it's because. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? I'm sure this is going to help you. It will help your life. It will help your career. It will help your business, your walk with God. Many times Christians fall into that trap as well. Something happens and you're like, I'm sure God is punishing me because I did that. Why? No. All right. So I hope this is useful for you. This should help you in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. God bless you.